How much is every second costing you? Typically, on a site that makes about 10 grand a day, 1 second costs you about $700. So, page speed matters. I heard when Nick was talking earlier with Stefan, you heard him mention that like you want a high-performing or high-speed page. He said that like anybody that has these big pages or big sites, they understand the value of 1 second and how many people will leave. So I'll give you a couple stats around that. I already told you that one. So the facts. Yeah, nearly 70%. I think I'm just clicking it too quick. That's what's doing it. So, all right. So nearly 70% of users admit that the page speed literally influences whether they're going to buy from you or not. 57%, more than half, will leave if your site takes longer than 3 seconds to load. The problem is, do you know what your site loads at? Because you're always looking at it on your device. It's cached. So have you looked at it incognito? It's amazing how many people's sites, they go, oh no, my site's super fast, and we'll send them a speed report, and it's like totally different than what they said. And we just have to explain to them that's what it is. Like your browser caches your site so that it can reload it faster. So what you see isn't what your customer sees. All right, yeah, the top ranking websites on Google load under 3 seconds. And they actually give you, more organic traffic and several other things if you stay within those boundaries. Google's internal studies show the faster sites not only improve the user experience, but they also reduce your operating expense. All right, so did you know every page has a separate load time? Most people just put in their site URL, and they think that's what their site loads at, but actually every single page has a different load time. And so we'll explain how that works. So what happens is your browser will send a request to the server. The server will take that request and then send it back to the browser, and then the browser renders your page. So that's what takes the time. So the more requests that it has to make before it can get it back, that's how long it takes to render it. And I'm going to show you a waterfall report, which is once you take a test, you can actually open it up, and it will tell you everything that's slowing it down. You just give that to your developer, and it'll make a huge difference. And I'll give an example too. So underperforming high load time pages, what you want to do is figure out the priority, like what pages that you send the people to or what ones are the most important, and use those first. And if you look here, again, this is kind of setting up what we're going to do next. It shows 5.33 seconds as a load time. The truth of the matter is that this time isn't actually as important as the next one. So there's something called DOM time, which is document. Of course, I'm gonna forget while I'm up here. So document interactive time, but for some reason they call it DOM. So what it is it's when when your browser makes the call to the server, and then the server responds. It's how long it takes for the browser to load the page where they can interact with it. So you saw on the last slide it was like 5.35 seconds or 5.55 seconds. The DOM time is actually what's important because that's when they can start interacting with the page. The rest can load in the background. So what you want to do is when you look at this particular metric, you want to find the pages that are high-performing pages that don't load, because what that is, the experience is that's when they get to the page and it's sitting there scrolling, and they can't start. That's why they'll bounce. So the longer it is, the more people will leave. Like Google said, if it's over 3 seconds, more than half your traffic leaves. So these are all things that we're doing in the background to make the offers work better. All right, so here's an example. So this is the interactive document load time. You can see the average for the site is 296. So now what we'll do is you take this list and you send it to your developer and just let them know, like, hey, if you can fix these particular pages, it's going to make a huge difference because these are the ones that are the most valuable to your company. How do you do that? You can use a site just like this. It's called GT Metrics. And when you load it in, just remember, you actually want to do each page. So this is going to give you the stats for the home page. If I were you, if I was writing an offer for someone, you don't want me to write your offer, but if I was writing an offer for someone, I would go check their funnel out and I would do this stuff. Because if you came to them with this information, they would be a lot happier with you. It'd make you, a lot more valuable to them. Also, then you know that maybe it's not your copy that's not performing. Like maybe the page has something else that it needs fixed, and then you're not going to get the blame for why it's not converting. All right, so this is a waterfall report. So the last site that I just gave you, when you plug it in, it's going to give you a report. On there, it's called a waterfall report. It's going to give you like a bunch of grades, all that. You can click on the waterfall report, and what it'll do is it'll open up this, and it shows everything that browser went to the server for a request, what was sent back, how long it took before it could load it. And so then what you do, you just identify the three things. Sometimes it's an app, sometimes it's their image sizes. It's really different on every site. And then you give this report to them, tell them to send it to their developer, fix those things. And just to give you an example of the difference, what can happen. So it was graded by GT Metrics. Before it was 27%. The on-load time was 4 seconds. And the fully load time, which is not the downtime. The downtime is 4 seconds. The fully load time is 9.6. Afterwards, when we send that report to the developers, now it's a 98% score, opens in 1.3 seconds, and fully loaded in 1.7. That's really what you want to look for. And so if you can help your offer owner or your store, as a store owner, get this stuff to your developer, it's going to make a massive difference in your revenue. All right. So some simple wins that you can ethically steal, because not everybody's going to be able to, that gets a little technical. Not everybody's going to